Everybody ready? I'd like to welcome everybody to the monthly meeting of the Board of Commissioners held for the purpose of transacting the general business in the township. For the record, today is December 9th, 2015. I'd ask everyone to please stand and join the Board of Commissioners in a moment of silent reflection, honoring the servicemen and women who have placed themselves in harm's way in order to help preserve our safety. I'd ask everyone to join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd entertain a motion dispensing of the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting as written and recorded in the official minute book of the township.
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Please record a unanimous vote. All commissioners are present this evening.
Executive session, or did we say we went into executive session the last Monday?
No.
We
We
didn't
should
know we
probably
had to
say
say it
tonight.
now. I can announce it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll announce on behalf of the board that the board, at the conclusion of Monday night's meeting, had an executive session to obtain the advice of the solicitor on legal matters, and that was this past Monday, after the regular meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Garrity. This time, before we go into the business meeting, two of our commissioners will not be returning when the board reorganizes in January. So at this time, I have a few words on behalf of our thanks to those two commissioners, and I believe there's some folks in the audience that would like to address the board prior to our public comment. At this time, I'd like to thank Commissioners Gillies and Amy Santman for your dedicated service to our community. Amy joined the board in the spring of 2014 after the passing of Commissioner Tom Bell. Amy embraced her appointment and dove right into the issues. During Amy's 18 months on the board happened to be faced with some of the most complex issues in recent memory, some of which are going to be decided tonight. Those include storm management issues on Brookside Road, the threat of billboards on Bethlehem Pike, the municipal campus project, the possible loss of the Flowertown Farmers Market, multiple land development applications, sale of our sanitary sewer system. All this while Amy was getting familiar with the daily constituent concerns and needs and working on our $18 million budget. In her spare time, she happened to complete a survey of the township residents to gauge their needs and concerns, not just for Ward 1, but the entire township. And she passed those findings on to the rest of the board members to help us also gauge our constituents' needs. Amy has shown great temperament, openness to various opinions, analyzed all options, and made decisions to what she believed was in the best interest of the township. Amy, we thank you for your commitment to our township. Commissioner Bob Gillies was elected to the board in 1999. Bob has served as vice president and president of the board. Bob has lent his expertise in the construction field to the township, which has proved extremely valuable in our decisions in land development, zoning, infrastructure, and stormwater management issues. More recently, Bob has provided valuable insight as he served as liaison to our municipal campus committee. Bob has helped us navigate through the intricacies of this multi-million-dollar project. Overall, Bob has always looked at the impact of our decisions have on the taxpayers of the township. After tonight, I am sure many of us will miss our spirited discussions, particularly on the budget, but I am sure Bob will return from time to time to keep us on our toes. We thank you also for your commitment to the township. And finally, but not least, and I don't want to overlook this, we appreciate the support of both of your families that they have given to you and for lending us your service. So thank you. At this time, I believe there's a few folks in the audience that would like to also address the board concerning our two departing commissioners. The approach, and please state your name and address for the record.
Steal your statement.
Sorry, everybody.
I'll get in the little box, I'm sure.
You get the pick, Bob.
Or do you want behind?
Good evening. My name's Dave Mickelbacher, 102 Redford Road, Orland, Pennsylvania. And I just wanted to state that I and a lot of the residents truly appreciate all your hard work up here on the board, and Amy, you especially, for getting put in a difficult situation, and the hard work that you've shown. And Bob, for all your years of service and dedication to the residents of the township, we truly appreciate it. Excuse me. So this time, thank you very much for your service. Mr. Gillies, thank you very much for everything.
Thank you. All right. Jeff thought the flowers were for him. At this time, we also have a, does anybody else want to make a comment? Oh, well, on this, and then I'll get into the public comment.
My name is Chris Tomlinson. I live at 27 Halls Lane, and I just walked in, so I'm not sure how much of this has already been said, but serves to be said again. I just want to thank the two people tonight who have given a great deal of time and sacrifice to make this township a better place. I'll start with Amy. She's my commissioner in my ward. I want to thank you for stepping into a most difficult situation and serving in that position with class and dignity, and eye for the best interest of the township in every decision you made up there. So, thank you for that.
Thank you.
The job you stepped into was Tom Bell's, and you serving in that seat was a credit to his memory. I can say with near 100% certainty that Tom also is proud of the job you have done in his place. So, thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Chris.
Bob, it's been a long run. Planning Commission many years ago, you kept winning elections. When I was there, you kept fighting for the taxpayers of Springfield Township. Thank you for relentlessly looking out for the residents and their tax dollars. This township is lucky to have had you on this board for as long as they did, and I consider myself fortunate to call you a friend. So for the two of you, thank you very much. And I know your families will be better off with you having more time for them, but the township will not be better off with you guys not sitting up there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This time, if you can give us a few more minutes, we'd like to present two citations to Amy and Bob. And Commissioner Sean would join me to the front. Yeah, we'll call Commissioner Sandman.
You were prepared for
Good evening. On behalf of the United States Senate, the certificate of special recognition is presented to Commissioner Amy L. Santon, commemorating your service as a Springfield Township Commissioner. Thanks for your leadership, dedication, and commitment to the community. Signed, Patrick J. Toomey, United States Senator, December 7th, 2015. Give me 1 second.
Oh, wait,
In the
Bob's
middle.
up. That's all right, just pass it. Thank you, everybody.
Let's go this way.
Call from the front of the room, Commissioner Robert Gillis. Present to you on behalf of the United States Senate, the certificate of special recognition is presented to Commissioner Robert Gillis Jr., commemorating 16 years of service as a Springfield Township Commissioner. Thank you for your leadership, dedication, and commitment to the community. Signed, Patrick J. Toomey, United States Senate.
Take your glasses.
Sorry. It's that chivalry thing, sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Jim. You go first. We have a bigger dais or whatever. when we get to these.
Yeah, it's a little bit more room.
All right, thank you for your indulgence. Excuse me. I have one special report. Yes. The Commissioners received word that the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development funded the Brookside Road Drainage Project for approximately $133,000. The project includes the installation of 805 linear feet of new stormwater pipe, and new stormwater inlets, and the modification of a concrete end wall in the paper mill run. The next steps include the creation and execution of a grant agreement plan, design, and bidding. Construction could begin as early as the summer of 2016. That is my special report. At this time, the Board of Commissioners is open to comments and questions from the public. The Board draws particular attention to those items listed on the agenda this evening. Please be advised that once the committee reports begin, the Board can no longer accept questions from the floor. At the conclusion of the committee reports, public comment will once again be accepted. However, official action on those issues listed on the agenda will have already taken place. Therefore, if you wish to comment on an agenda item, now would be the appropriate time. Please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Any public comment? Okay. Hearing none, I'll move really quickly. Okay.
Oh, now there is.
There you go. That's okay. I thought you said you wanted.
Karen Barry Roberts of Winmore, soon to be of Orland. I'm a little baffled about the process that on Monday night, the solicitor mentioned that when a petition was handed in, that kind of it wasn't it wasn't necessarily up to petitions to determine the bus situation going on in Orland, and that the township has legal obligations through ordinances and things. And I was wondering why that, I had not heard that. Now, I did not go to every meeting because I was on vacation in the summer, but I was wondering why that hadn't been expressed prior to Monday night, because if it's all about legalities and the residents, petitions or opinions or quality of life doesn't come into play, how come, we probably wouldn't have come to meetings all along, you wouldn't have to listen to us for all these months. So I'm a little perplexed why that wasn't addressed earlier in the process.
You want me to address that, or?
I can, or you can?
You can first, if you like, but.
The board sits up here in two different capacities. One is legislative, where they can be persuaded by petitions and people expressing their opinion on what's good for the quality of life of people in this township and what isn't. And that's a way that they sit frequently. But the specific matters that we were talking about on Monday night related to the other way that the board sits up here, which is called quasi-judicial. And in that capacity, petitions, popularity, the voice of the people do not mean what are not allowed to mean by the law what they would in legislative capacity matters. The board has to review land development plans against the ordinances, and the township engineer does the same thing. If a plan complies with our ordinance by state law, it must be approved. So all the petitions in the world can't stop it from being approved. That's the law. They don't sit in that capacity very often, but in conditional use applications, land development plans, things like that, they do sit in that capacity. Things like rezoning, the passage of other types of laws, all that kind of lobbying, if you will, or petitions or the opinions of the residents mean a great deal. And the board listens to the residents all the time on those matters. But they have to listen to me once in a while. Sometimes they don't. But once in a while they have to listen to me, and I have to tell them that the law says on this matter, this particular matter or whatever it is, you're constrained by the law to to render a decision upon the ordinances of the township. And as I said, the land development applications are one of those. And if a land development application and the plans meet with our ordinances, it must be approved. And if it doesn't meet with our ordinances, it can't be approved. So that's a long way of answering your question. I'm sorry for that.
But if I could just add too, I don't think your voices are not heard by the board. We do hear them. There's a difference between not listening at all and whatnot. And we do hear them. Also, any land development goes through a process where you go before the Township's Planning Commission. That's an open forum where I believe me, we sat through the Planning Commissions, not on these applications, but other ones where your voices are heard, and that may or may not go into their recommendations to us. But at the end of the day, we have to apply the statutes. We do hear you. There's been much on these two development issues presented to the board, but as Jim indicated, we sit as a quasi-judicial body. So we've been on any land development, we're tempered. We listen, we evaluate everything, and at the end of the day, we make a decision applying the statutes as well. So,
Jim,
so your voices are heard. Obviously, there's a court reporter here. He's taking down everything that we're saying. And in any process, we're careful on these particular issues on what we say as well, because we have to render a decision based on all the facts.
Jim, if I could, on every type of decision like we have coming before us, and we have the workshop meetings or other meetings, if not every single time, Jim Gary has always made that point. If you hadn't heard it previously, I don't know why, but I know he has said it on virtually every case that we've come across, not just this particular one, but every other one that has been of any point of contention or not even contention. He brings that up at the beginning of the meeting or thereabouts.
Okay, it could be that sometimes we don't, when the room's been full, can't hear back there. Has the traffic study been completed and been looked at, observed?
It's
Is
been
that-
completed and
is that
submitted, but we
done?
haven't looked at it yet.
For which piece, ma'am?
She would be for the Giuliani property on the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the study's been completed, and it's been submitted to the township engineer, so it's under his review right now.
He's still reviewing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as Jim explained the other night, once that's reviewed by him, we convey his findings to us, and then we go from there as to, whether
I
that.
just didn't know if you looked at it already.
It hasn't been presented to the board yet.
It might be Houdini in
No, the process is the engineer will review it, and they're the experts, they take a look at it. And then, I'm sure by next month's agenda, if his review's completed, it'll be presented to us.
Okay. Thank you
All right,
very
no,
much.
thank you.
Sure.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, I will move into the committee reports. I will start with the zoning committee report. The zoning hearing board will meet this month, December 21st, 2015, at 7 PM here in the Township Building. There is one zoning petition for JP Ventures 5 LLC, 1550 Latimer Street, Philadelphia, is seeking variances for the property located at 1400 Willow Grove Avenue, Winmore. Variance to allow multi-dwelling use in a B residential district. A variance to decrease the lot area from 8,000 square foot to 4,697 square foot per family for multiple dwellings. And a variance from provisions of the internal landscaping main parking lot. That is the zoning petition. Does anybody have any comments on that zoning petition? I believe the boards discussed that the other night. We don't usually take a position in favor of zoning petitions. We usually would take a position to oppose them, but I believe that many on the board felt this was a proper use for that. Is that right, Commissioner Harbison?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'd like to make.
I'll just give one little pitch for it, and that is, it's the Montessori School on Willow Grove Avenue, which is going to get converted into 8 apartments. There are 2 floors, so one on each corner, and then on the back there'll be 2 houses, kind of behind where the playground is. And what I like about it is that it's saving a historic building, that it's a school, there's really no good school use for it now, so it's a way to get people into the neighborhood. It doesn't, the risk of leaving it there as a school building empty is you could suddenly have a reform school in there, you could have something you don't want. Yet it's nice to not just see the lot get leveled and then 6 homes get put in there. So I think it's a nice outcome.
Right.
I hope the zoning board.
But the
thinks the
zoning
same.
board will hear from other residents if there's
Right.
still some concerns. I think they're working with the residents to address some of those landscaping buffers and whatnot. So that would be the zoning petitions. My chair keeps sinking. I got the short chair.
No, there's 2 of them. Mine's doing it too.
You need a new building.
I'm getting heavier. Last month, the Board of Commissioners appointed 2 residents to fill 2 unexpired terms of service as members of the Springfield Township Zoning Hearing Board. The unexpired terms of service were due to expire December 31st, 2015. Therefore, I move that the Board of Commissioners appoint Jennifer Guckin, 8809 Carlisle Road, to fill the position as alternate member of the Zoning Hearing Board. The new 3-year term of service shall expire December 31st, 2018. That is my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote. I move that the Board of Commissioners appoint Richard Simmons, 1902 Surrey Road, to fill a position as a full member of the Zoning Hearing Board for a new 3-year term of service to expire December 31st, 2018. That is my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote. I'll do this now.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Thank you. That would be the zoning report. I would now call upon the chairman of the Works and Safety Committees, the vice president of the board, Commissioner Glenn Schomp.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items this evening. First, I move that the Board of Commissioners enact Ordinance 939, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of emergency radios and participation in a no-interest loan with Montgomery County. The total value of the proposed loan for Springfield Township, which includes the Springfield Township Emergency Organizations, is $414,085. Of that amount, Springfield Township will be responsible for $254,016.16. The balance of the loan, valued at $160,068.84, will be the responsibility of the 3 volunteer fire companies. The term of the loan is 5 years. That's my motion.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
Thank you. Next, I move that the Board of Commissioners enact Ordinance 940, an ordinance authorizing the sale of the Springfield Township sanitary sewer system to the Bucks County Water and Sewer Authority and the execution of an asset purchase agreement between Springfield Township and Bucks County Water and Sewer Authority. The sale price for the sanitary sewer system is $16,500,100. The evaluation process and deliberation by the Board of Commissioners was a very long and detailed process, and I wish to thank the Township's financial consultant, Public Financial Management, the utility consultant, AUS Consulting, and special legal counsel, Dilworth Paxson, for their guidance and assistance through this year-long evaluation of this decision. It's my second motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
I have comments and questions, Mr. President.
Thank you.
As most of the board understands, I have not been in favor of this sale. I think it's a rushed sale. We haven't really had a lot of opportunity to review all the details of the sale. We just received the bid last week, and the revised bid last week, and as late as 5 o'clock this afternoon, we were presented with 25 pages of additional documentation to support the sale. I think the sale is a bad idea for basically one reason, and that's that it shifts the burden onto the, away from the millage side of the revenue to the sewer side of the cost schedule here, because with the purchase by Bucks County Water and Sewer, we have in this agreement a rate freeze of just 2 years, and at that time, after those 2 years, basically Bucks County Water and Sewer is pretty much free to escalate those rates to whatever they determine is an appropriate fee. Currently, their rates are about 50% above where our rates are now. Our average bill for sewers are about $28 a month on a monthly basis, and the Bucks County Water and Sewer is about $46 a basis a month per customer equivalency. I think we're selling an asset that has been part of this township for almost 100 years. We're selling an operating business to retire debt on a fixed asset, which, you know, from a business point of view, I think is somewhat questionable. I'm not even sure we're getting a fair price. We did have 2 bids. The second bid was from the Aqua America firm for $14,650.
14 million.
If you just do a simple 10 times the revenue, or multiple, which is a very normal business revenue multiplier, it would indicate that the sewer system is worth $24 million, for whatever that's worth. The township has a very, very low-cost system. I mean, we have always basically passed along 100% of of the costs that we've incurred to the residents, and that's one of the reasons why our sewer charges are so low. And one of the reasons it's so low is because we don't have treatment plants, or we don't have large numbers of pumping stations, and we have limited mileage of piping to maintain. Bucks County Water and Sewer has four municipal treatment plants. They have over 100 pumping stations. They have 1,200 miles of pipe. They are buying us because we are a very simple system. We just have a big pipe and we pass it all through to Philadelphia. And what the township over the years has done is just passed along those costs to each individual resident. There is no guarantee that you are not going to see significant increases in your water and sewer bill after this 2-year period is over. Upper Dublin, which entered into a contract with the Sewer Authority 5 years ago, at the end of their initial period, saw their rates more than double. The authority will have no representation by Springfield. There will be no representation on the authority by anybody from Springfield Township. This is the authority, which is members are all appointed by the Bucks County Commissioners, has the total control of the operation. They are not a PUC-regulated authority. They are just a municipal authority. They have no, there is no oversight to speak of their operation besides their internal oversight. So basically, I think what's going to happen here is that after the 2-year period of freeze, we're going to have significant increases in the water and sewer rates if we allow ourselves to be purchased, and those will be ongoing, you know, forever in the millennium. We will have rates that we have basically no control of, and the cost savings, as I can quickly determine them, even just from the information we received at 5 o'clock this afternoon, are not going to be significant. And the savings that we're going to have by not paying interest on the municipal, not having to borrow the $16.5 million, are going to be more than offset by the higher increased sewer charges that we're going to have from Bucks County Water and Sewer. So for all those reasons, Mr. President, I would strongly recommend that at the very least we defer this decision until the board has had a chance to analyze this wealth of new information that we just received this afternoon at 5 o'clock. We do have time within the agreements. We don't have to make a decision on the Bucks County Water and Sewer offer until January the 31st. So I see no reason why we shouldn't wait, carefully analyze the dollars and cents here, look deeper into the operation of Bucks County Water and Sewer, see what they have in the pipeline with regard to capital expenditures. Because, we've basically been blessed for the last, 5 years, 10 years, without really spending a lot of money on our water and sewer system. These published reports say that in the pipeline, Bucks County Water and Sewer has $40 to $50 million in new projects ready to hit the road, hit the street. And as we all know, this just translates into higher general fees for all of our customers. So I would like to make a motion that we defer a decision on this ordinance for.
You have a motion to table.
I had to table the motion. Make a motion to table it.
Okay, thank you. A motion to table trumps the present motion, so there's a motion on the table. There's a motion on the floor to table Commissioner Sham's motion. Is there a second? Hearing none, the motion does not carry
The motion does
I
not
can
carry
make-
to a vote.
to a vote.
If I can make a comment?
Then we're back to the present motion that's on the floor, so yeah.
Well, Pete, a couple things. One, prior to us getting the funding, when we put this out for a package, and we were told we would get anywhere from $9 to $15 million for the project.
9 to 12.
I'm sorry, 9 to 12 million, thank you. For the sewer treatment plant, you thought that dollar amount was ridiculous, we would never see those funds. That you did not think there was an asset worth putting for sale. So, you're incorrect there. Your other argument now is that the more money we receive, the higher the bills are gonna go. So if we would've gotten 24 million, your argument would be our rates would even go higher because we got $24 million.
That's the potential is always there.
Correct, but if we got $24 million, we would have a facility that we wouldn't have to pay for. So the purpose of this was to make sure that the tax base was not impacted by the capital improvements that we're spending to rehabilitate the library.
Yeah, but this is
Public-
just.
Pete,
No, just-
please. I'm going through point by point, trying to pick up all the things that you said. Number one, we also only own this, it's a 60-year-old system. And being the second senior commissioner on here, and you being one of the relatively junior ones, you do not understand how much we have spent into the system. We do make a profit on the sewer system. We have made a profit on the system, if you want to call it that, because we put money aside every year for capital improvements. We spend over $5 million on manhole restoration, which we received. We had money in our capital reserve when the city raised rates to temper the rates to the taxpayers over a 4-year period. We didn't hit them with 100% of the fee the first year. We did it in increments of 25%. So we still have $3 million in reserve in the system. We spent $5 million. We offset tax rates, and that's only been in the couple years before you got here. Also, we have a bill here. We did have consultants tell us that the rates would go up slightly. We have a 2-year moratorium. I can assure you, we would not have a 1-year moratorium on the township if we had it next year, because the city would raise its rates, and we also know that we have some issues that need to be taken care of. We would have to raise our rates for short-term or near-term expenditures, because the system is 60 years old, and we'll need some major restoration. That money will now be deferred among all those people you've talked about, and yes, we will also get put in the pool of their issues, but we all have water and electric that is not, owned by the township. And then lastly, you say they have no regulations and they can raise it at will. They cannot. You were told that specifically, that they have to follow, and I don't remember the exact terminology, but they cannot charge Bucks County more than they can charge Springfield. So in essence, it's going to be equality across the board. We paid, you said $28. I have a bill here of $28. from Bucks County Water. It looks like there might be a couple dollar a month difference, that's all. But I assure you, the offset in the taxes, because we're not borrowing $16 million to procure this, the funding for this project, and having a company that does sanitary sewer repairs on a regular basis, doesn't have to put the stuff out for bid, doesn't need to hire an engineer to do all the work, they have all that in staff, we will see a very minimal impact in the rate, if actually potentially a reduction in our rate over the long term. So that's
May
my
I comment?
position.
May I comment?
Thank you.
Back?
Yeah, I mean, if you just want to address the board, I think, I don't want to get into a large debate, but go ahead, Pete. If anybody else has any other
Okay, I mean,
comments?
basically, my point is, this is it's just cost shifting. I mean, we're going to see much higher sewer bills in the future if we pass this and we sell the system than we would if we, in my opinion, than we would if we didn't sell the system. We will have we'll have absolutely no control over what those costs are going to be. There's no input, we have no input whatsoever. If currently, if you have a problem with the water and sewer, the sewer system right now, or your sewer bill, you know exactly where to come and where the buck stops. You will not know that in the future. The bill that you're referring to, which we just received at 5 o'clock this afternoon, is confusing at the very least, and I don't think representative of a true water customer in Upper Dublin. You know, for all these reasons, I think it's a bad move, and it's one that's going to, in the long term, cost the residents of Springfield Township a lot more than just you know, biting the bullet and borrowing this money under extremely very low interest rates on municipal bonds going forward. So.
Any further comment?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. The only thing I would say is, you know, we've evaluated this over the last year. With respect to the rates, we've heard from council about the enabling legislation that there has to be a reasonable rate. The rates are similar across their customers. With respect to, yes, we have been blessed with a system that hasn't needed overall major repairs, but I listened to the experts in the Public Works from our Public Works Department, Public Works in Upper Dublin, who has sold the system. Our $3.5 million that's in our reserves now would be gone with the failure of one major pipe. We are not going to be able to sustain that infrastructure going in 10, 15, 20 years into the future. The worst case scenario to me would be we float a bunch of bonds. Each township resident's real estate taxes go up anywhere from $270 to $300 a month. Then we have a major blowout in about 3 or 4 years from now where we're taking out another bond to pay for a major sewer repair. So then you're really going to have a problem. So my understanding, and from listening over the last years, many smaller municipalities are doing this. It is a little bit of cost shifting, but you're trading an asset for a future relief, in my opinion, on the taxpayers of the township. The township residents expect us to be creative. They expect us to, they wanted a new municipal campus. We've provided that as we're voting. If it passes later on, hopefully with a new chair for the chairman and another chair to keep sinking down. And we have been creative. We looked at ways to limit the burden on the taxpayer as much as possible with a $26 to $27 million municipal project. And I'm happy that we've all worked together on that project, and I'm sorry you feel that way, Pete, but this has been a pretty collective effort, but I do appreciate your opinion on this, so thank you so much.
Let me just add 2 more things. One that Don mentioned to me today is that we're at pretty close to capacity on our borrowing ability. So in other words, if we were to borrow $27 million based on debt service coverage and that sort of thing, we don't have the ability to borrow that much more.
If there's a problem with our infrastructure.
If there's a problem with our infrastructure, yeah. And secondly, as far as I understand, the Upper Dublin deal, when they sold the system 10 years ago, they had a 10-year moratorium. So they're in a situation where they're catching up now because they kept everything flat for 10 years. Is that also
That's
correct?
correct, yes.
So, you know, just to make some more clarifications.
So, thank you. There's no, go ahead.
The only comment, I wasn't really going to comment, but the one thing I like about Bucks County Water and Sewer is there's an economy of scale that's associated with Bucks County Water and Sewer. If you go back 10 years, Upper Dublin had a sewer truck and a sewer crew, Cheltenham has a sewer truck and sewer crew, Abington, Springfield, White Marsh, everybody has a sewer truck and a sewer crew. Really, one sewer truck for all 5 of those municipalities is probably enough. One sewer crew, guys that do it every day, 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever their shifts are. So there's an economy of scale to moving it to a larger body like Bucks County Water and Sewer. And that's one of the reasons I think you'll see that the rates will not, I don't believe the rates will do what Pete's saying they're going to do. I think Bucks County is the responsible operator for the sewer system. Everything I've read about Bucks County, it seems to be positive. There doesn't seem to be negatives floating out there that they're rotten or anything like that. And so that's the only thing I wanted to really discuss was the economy of scale.
Great, thank you. Hearing no other comments, there's a motion on the floor, there's a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Please record a 6-to-1 vote, the motion passes.
Thank you. Next, I move the Board of Commissioners extend a conditional offer of employment as a probationary police officer with Springfield Township Police Department to R. Calvin Wiley of Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, with an employment date of January 11, 2016. The conditions of the appointment include successfully passing a medical and psychological examination. This is my first motion.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
Thank you. Lastly, I move that the Board of Commissioners extend a conditional offer of employment as a probationary police officer with the Springfield Township Police Department to Edward Gross of Philadelphia. The employment date shall be May 16, 2016. The conditions of the appointment include successfully passing a medical and psychological examination. That's my last motion.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Shum. I would now call upon the Chairman of the Internal Affairs Committee, Commissioner Robert Gillies.
Thank you, Mr. President. Got a few items tonight. First, I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the November check reconciliation in the amount of $1,126,013.56 and the December bill listing in the amount of $1,596,507.33. That is my motion.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
Okay, next is related, several are related to the municipal campus renovation project. On October 22nd, 2015, the township opened bids for 4 prime contracts, as well as a special bid for environmental remediation for the municipal campus renovation project located at Paper Mill and Road in Hawthorne Lake. The township received 8 general contractor bids, 9 mechanical contractor bids, 7 electrical contractor bids, 8 plumbing bids, and 6 environmental abatement contractor bids. In addition to the base bids, 10 alternates were also bid. A list of specific bid alternates is available for anyone interested in reviewing specifics. Related to the same, I move that the Board of Commissioners award the general contractor contract to Skepton Construction Incorporated of Pennsburg, PA, for the low base bid plus bid alternates number 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, and 9 for a total bid price of $15,911,000. That is my motion.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
Related to the mechanical contractor, I move that the Board of Commissioners reject the low bid from All States Mechanical Limited due to a material defect in their bid proposal. The material defect relates to an inconsistency in posting the value of their bid. That is my motion.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
Next, I move that the Board of Commissioners award the mechanical contract to Guy Cooper Incorporated of Willow Grove, PA, for their low base bid plus alternate numbers 1 and 4 for a total bid price of $1,778,000. That is my motion.
Motion on the floor, is there a second? Any comments or questions? No. Second?
Second. Second.
Second, I thought Amy did. Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote. I can't hear down here. so-
Yeah.
I move that the Board of Commissioners award the electrical contract to Boro Construction of King of Prussia, PA, for their low base bid, plus alternates numbers 1, 2, 5, and 7, for a total bid price of $2,791,800. That is my motion.
It's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
I move that the Board of Commissioners award the plumbing contract to J.R. Reynolds of Willow Street, PA, for their low base bid plus bid alternates number 1, for a total price of $1,129,500. That is my motion.
It's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
I move that the Board of Commissioners award the environmental remediation contract to Prism Response Incorporated of Drums, PA, for their low base bid plus alternate 1, for a total price of $91,302. That is my motion.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second? Second. Any comments or questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
With the above contracts, give you construction cost for the municipal campus renovation of $21,701,602. In addition to the construction cost proposals were also secured for testing, adjusting, and balancing of the equipment within the buildings. 3 proposals were received. I move that the Board of Commissioners award a commissioning contract to Butler Balancing Company of Downingtown, PA, for their low bid price of $33,300 to provide testing, adjusting, and balancing services. That is my motion.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
Additionally, the township also secured proposals for construction testing services for soil, asphalt, concrete, steel, and fireproofing. 8 proposals were received. I move that the Board of Commissioners award an inspection contract to provide construction testing services to David Blackmore and Associates of Pottstown, PA, for a price not to exceed $59,107.50. That is my motion.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
Related to construction management, I move that the Board of Commissioners approve an amendment to Dewey Engineering, Dewey, I'm sorry. A lot of reading, sorry. Engineering and Construction Management proposal to extend their scope of services to 34-month period to provide construction management services for the municipal campus
On the floor.
renovation for a price not to exceed $159,866. That is my motion.
The motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? I have one, oh, that's Dewey, right?
Dewey, yeah.
Tell Dewey they need to buy us all new chairs. How's that?
You're in it,
There you go. I want a new chair. This chair's sinking. Can you throw that in there?
You can use this one.
It's a sinking one.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
To continue. The total project cost, including construction and soft cost, which soft cost includes fixtures, equipment, temporary housing for municipal services, architectural fees, engineering fees, construction management fees, permits, and testing, is $26,329,029. The project was delivered $1,230,430 under budget. The remaining budget schedule, the Board of Commissioners will close the business of 2015 and adopt the 2016 budget at a meeting scheduled for December 16th, 8 p.m. in the Springfield Township Building in this room. Defined contribution plan.
Before we go into that, Bob,
Okay.
I just want to thank the Municipal Campus Committee, all of our experts that you've heard from, we've talked about tonight. the residents that took tours of all of our facilities to see what shape they were in, and the need for the municipal campus. So I want to thank all the parties. If I missed anybody, I apologize, but it's been a long process, and appreciate the work everyone's done. So, thank you, Bob.
You're welcome. Related to the defined contribution plan, I move that the Board of Commissioners authorize the advertisement of a draft ordinance establishing a defined contribution pension plan for new salary employees. That is my motion.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
The 2016 agency meeting schedule will be posted. The meeting schedule for all township boards, commissions, and committees in 2016 will be similar to that of 2015, with two exceptions. Those exceptions are, the Board of Commissioners business meeting will begin at 7:30 PM on the second Wednesday of each month, and the workshop meeting of the Board of Commissioners will begin at 7 PM on the Monday preceding the second Wednesday. Both of the aforementioned meetings currently commence 1/2 hour later. The 2016 agency meeting schedule will be duly advertised, posted on the Township website, and copies will be available at the Office of Township Manager. Temporary police offices. During the municipal campus renovation construction period, the municipal offices, including the police, will be temporarily relocated. After several months of consideration, a suitable office space for the police, and negotiating a lease, it is believed that the space at 1717 Bethlehem Pike, Erdenheim, is suitable for the operation. With that, I move that the Board of Commissioners authorize the execution of a lease for temporary police offices with MC 260 NYD LP to lease 3,000 gross feet in suites 100, 110, and 120, and 140 at 717 Bethlehem Pike, Erdenheim. The term of the lease is for 2 years at a rate of $3,000 per month, or $12 a square foot per month. The lease may be extended on a month-to-month basis up to 6 additional months at the $3,000 rate per month. That is my motion.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
That concludes my report for this evening,
Thank you, Commissioner.
and my last report ever.
But it's not your last word, is it?
No, it won't be my last one.
I now call upon, thank you, Commissioner Gillies. I will now call upon the Chairman of the Community Development Committee, Commissioner Barrett Standish.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two motions tonight. One, I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt Resolution Number 1362, a resolution denying the preliminary final land development of the Tank Car Corporation of America and Cheltenham Transportation LLC related to 1725 Walnut Avenue, Orland. The land development plans were prepared for Cheltenham Transportation LLC by ProTract Engineering, Inc., consisting of a plan set of 6 sheets dated April 9th, 2015. The resolution contains 21 points identifying specific sections of the Township zoning ordinance, subdivision, and land development ordinance, and the stormwater management ordinance with which the plans do not comply. The developer has failed to revise the plans to address issues not in compliance with the Township Code, which were outlined in a letter from the Township engineer dated July 6, 2015. In addition, on October 30th, 2015, Springfield Township condemned the subject property and is now the legal owner of the property, and therefore the developer lacks standing to proceed with this application for land development approval for 1725 Walnut Avenue, Orland. And that is my motion.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
My next motion is, I move that the Board of Commissioners accept a letter dated November 23rd, 2015, from Jim Cassidy, owner of 902 Pleasant Avenue, extending the 90-day subdivision plan review period without limitation as to time for the proposed 5-lot residential subdivision located at 902 Pleasant Avenue, Winmore. That is my motion.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote.
And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Standish. I will now call upon the Chairman of the Cultural Resource Committee, Commissioner Jeffrey Harbison.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have item 13 on the agenda, which is the recycling report. During the month of November 2015, Springfield Township residents recycled 189 tons of material with a householder participation rate of 76.2%. The net cost for the month was $10,786.08. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Harbison. I will now call upon the Chairman of the Library Committee, Commissioner Peter Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Board of Commissioners reappoint Ramonis Scarlatti and Mary Ann Sutherland to new 3-year terms of service as members of the Springfield Township Library Advisory Committee. The new term of service shall expire December 31st, 2018. That is my motion.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please record a unanimous vote. Is that your report?
He's done.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. I now call upon the Chairman of the Human Resources Committee, Commissioner Amy Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandman. I will now move on to item number 15, which is the 2016 budget hearing. The purpose of this hearing is being held in compliance with Section 1701 of the Pennsylvania First Class Code, as last amended. The sole purpose of this budget hearing is for the Board of Commissioners to receive public comment on the 2016 budget. The legal requirements for our this budget hearing have been met. The 2016 preliminary budget of Springfield Township is $18,895,903. The proposed real estate rate is 3.676 mils, an earned income tax rate of 1% with an annual refuse service fee, $195.44, and $6.36 per 1,000 gallons of wastewater treated for sanitary sewer service. So I say there'd be no,
The tax increase.
which comes out to be there'd be no real estate tax increase on the taxpayers of the township, but the rate would increase for the
sanitary
for the
sewer.
sanitary sewer and the refuse.
No, refuse stays.
I'm sorry, refuse would be the same. At this time, the board would take testimony from the public concerning the budget. First, I'd ask the Board of Commissioners if they have any comment.
You're asking the Board of Commissioners first?
Yes.
I have a comment, and it sort of relates to Pete's prior comments about the sale of the sanitary sewer. We did have we did project additional funds from what we anticipated, which is not reflected in the budget. And I note that there's a few of the local enabling taxes that could be raised slightly based on our historical information from the last several years. And I would like to see if anybody would be considered, if we would consider rolling back the tax increase from last year based on that. That would be my request
Okay, just, I mean, if.
to look at.
And how would, at this juncture, if you were gonna look at, Jim or Don, looking back at rolling tax, what would the procedure be? Do we vote on that tonight, or is that something done at budget time?
No, next week is the point when you will actually pass the budget. So if the board wants further review of it, you could certainly ask that to be done. But, you know.
Does that call for a motion, or can that be done?
No, just by consensus. If the rest of the board wants to do it, it's just general consensus.
Okay.
And also, I did forget that there was some other revenue that's not shown in here that we will be getting for the Flowertown Country Club.
Well, my only comment to that, with respect to the sale of the sanitary sewer, and if there's any extra funds available, and if, because our budget has come in, those numbers haven't all shaken out loose yet, is it my understanding that you've asked our financial advisors to inform us of what possibly could be done with that money to either offset or pay for an existing capital project or whatnot? And when we get those numbers in, I think maybe we'd have a better understanding of whether or not, if that would help with Bob, maybe with your position. Like, what numbers are you looking for with respect to rolling a tax,
Well,
decreasing tax?
you can upgrade the revenue on the enabling taxes by $165,000 and not impact the budget in any way, in any way, shape, or form. Just increase what the projections are for those activities. And then we can add on to that the other projected revenue that's not in the budget at this point in time. And I would think, I guess, if you round it off, 210,000 would be, $20 a household, something like that.
I mean, I have no objection, if there's a consensus to the staff looking at that, but I'd also like to look at that once our financial advisors give us what possible uses for any of the extra funds from the sale could be used for to possibly assist the taxpayers ultimately down the road by paying off a capital project, for instance, the Mill Road Bridge and the existing Nodestone Orland Mill Road project or something along that, and then we could have the information on both sides.
Yeah, I understand, but last year when we sat here, we projected enabling taxes, and I did mention certain taxes that would be significantly more than show. And as you can tell, as we have 135%, 121%, and still a month of income to come, that those projections were correct. And last year's raise wasn't necessarily needed, and I would think a rollback of something would be
So you're
warranted.
looking
That's all.
you're looking for a $20 rebate in the taxes, correct?
Correct.
Okay. If we can consensus have staff look at that, but at the same time look at what our financial advisors tell us we could do with you're talking from just the budget.
I'm talking specifically the budget.
But I would like to also
and
see
revenue.
what they come back with respect to maybe better use would be to pay off some capital projects.
The information from your financial advisors is not going to be available by next week, then.
Okay.
Right, I mean, I'm just not changing anything in the budget, not adding or detracting to anything in the budget, just
Changing
what's
the
here now.
assumption.
Just changing the assumption on the revenue side. There'd be no impact to what budget is here right now,
Okay.
other than to the taxpayer.
Let me just change.
reduce the
We'll just reduce.
Right.
I mean, if I'm interested in the other board's comments on that, I don't have an objection to looking at it, but we would actually vote on that next week.
Correct. It's just that my theory is that if you increase the local enabling taxes to what the trend has been,
We've done it
not
before.
complete, that every dollar we raise up on the enabling taxes is a dollar we could take off the property tax. So that would be my request of the board, my final request of the board.
But does that give you enough information, Don, to look at?
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Now let's open the public comment on the budget. Does anybody have any comments on the budget? There's no tax increase, unless somebody wants one. Hearing none, I will close testimony for the budget hearing. All testimony taken at this budget hearing will be considered by the Board of Commissioners. A special meeting is scheduled to close the business 2015 and adopt close of business for 2015 and adopt the 2016 budget, Springfield Township, on December 16, 2015, 8 p.m. here in the Township Building. That is our committee reports, and the public hearing is closed. We're now open to our second comment period. If anybody would like to express public comment, now will be the appropriate time. Please state your name and address for the record. Come on up, Kevin. Sorry. Let me come on.
Name's Joe Carl, 306 Orland Mill Road. Just a simple question. I think I heard good news on the 1725 Walnut Avenue location as far as bus is concerned, but let me just phrase a question to you. When I go home tonight, I pull into my driveway, my neighbor comes over to me and asks, what's the status of that lot? I can tell them there will not be any buses parked there, or is that something that's just where we are now, and there's going to be future appeals, and we don't know where this is going to end up?
Do we need to?
Yes, sure. I don't know, is the best answer.
So we don't know that this is a resolved issue at this point? It's not a resolved issue?
Well, it's not resolved until 30 days passes without an appeal.
Okay, so an appeal can be made, and this can start all over again?
No, an appeal can be made, and then the court will consider the appeal.
The court being Montgomery County?
Montgomery County, no.
Okay, so now it goes to Montgomery County Court?
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay.
Well, where it would go.
That is where it would go, yes, if there's an appeal,
If
yes,
there's an appeal.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, I have a motion,
I'll make a motion to
motion
adjourn.
to.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, we are adjourned.